Hey, I'm Jordan. How many times have you regretted doing something, but for a reason you didn't expect at all? When this story started, I had a thought in the back of my mind that this wasn't going to end well. Anyway, listen up. I live in a pretty small town in Tennessee. There's not too much going on, so growing up, my friends and I had to entertain ourselves. The town itself is a quiet, safe place, so we had no problem exploring different parts of it after school. Or instead of school? There were several spots that we particularly liked, like an old cemetery that seemed creepy at first, but over time turned out to be a really nice place to hang out. And among all the stuff that we've seen, there was one place that we never had the courage to visit. It's a deserted mansion at the end of Lincoln Street. That area used to be a nice suburb years ago, but then a lot of people moved out, and I don't really know why. In fact, no one knows. Now it's the most depressing part of our town, and there were lots of creepy stories surrounding the mansion. When I say we, I mean the three of us: Felix, Jason, and myself. We have this inside joke that if we were horror movie characters, Felix would be the weird one, Jason the funny one, and I'd be the guy that dies first. So we wouldn't even dare approach the mansion, until we discovered this whole genre of videos, where people take a camera and break into abandoned houses to explore them. This is pretty dangerous, so I'm not sure what we were thinking, but we finally decided to give the Lincoln Street mansion a try, with a camera. It took us some time to prepare. Each of us had some money from savings that we pulled together so we could afford a GoPro to make the video look awesome. 4 days after the idea crossed our minds, we were standing at the end of Lincoln Street, prepared for everything. Like again, the house is just huge. 4 stories and probably 100 rooms overall. And the closer we got, the more gloomy it looked. Like the house itself didn't want to be disturbed. That feeling freaked me out a little bit. But Felix and Jason were all pumped and excited, and I didn't want to be the only one to turn back. So I was chosen to put on the GoPro. As we approached the mansion, we saw that all of the first floor windows had been nailed shut, so we had to use a tree to get into a window on the second floor. Some of them didn't even have glass anymore. Another bad sign was that the tree branch we used to get in, which seemed 100% reliable, started cracking when Jason climbed on it, and he managed to jump into the window at the last minute before it broke. Now, we were finally inside. The rooms all turned out to be almost empty. I guess the people who left the house must have took the furniture with them, but some of it was still there. We were walking slowly through some of the rooms with a flashlight, with me turning my head around all the time to capture it on the camera. So when we entered another room, and I turned my head again, I screamed with fright. For a moment I saw something moving in the corner. Of course, at that second, I was sure it was a ghost, the living dead, or, I don't know, a vampire? But it was just a mirror, and the moving figure was me. The guys laughed so hard at this. Anyway, we kept going. As we got used to the interior a bit, we even started to have fun, like running through the huge halls or jumping on the leftover furniture. We were already thinking about leaving, when we heard a noise come from somewhere downstairs. It wasn't just me anymore. The guys got scared as hell too. We froze for a moment and listened. Someone, or something, seemed to be coming up the stairs. So we rushed around looking for a room to hide in, but it turned out that we were so frightened we ran in the wrong direction, and we found ourselves in a room with no windows. The door was open, and there was no way that we were going to run back to close it. We were praying we wouldn't get noticed. Now the joke about me dying first in a horror movie didn't seem that funny anymore. The door in the next room opened. We heard slow, quiet steps towards us. Then a figure appeared in the doorway. It was a tall old man. Only later we'd learn what he was actually doing there. So at the moment he looked like a zombie butler or something. He looked at us for several moments, closed the door, and locked it from the outside. "I'm calling the police," he said from the other room. We felt stupid. That was a real problem. What kind of trouble were we going to get into now? But still, when Jason suggested that we kick down the door, I said that I thought that might make things worse. Maybe I was the sensible one after all. So after a while, or what literally seemed like an eternity, the man came back with a police officer. The officer was pretty stern, while the old man was smiling most of the time, and asking him not to be too hard on us. It turned out that the mansion wasn't completely abandoned. At some point, this man was the only tenant left in the whole house. So he left several rooms for himself by the back door that he needed and that he could maintain. He showed us where he lived, and it was actually pretty cozy. As for calling the police, the old man said that he just wanted to teach us a lesson, since abandoned houses might actually be really dangerous and stuff. A ceiling could fall in on you at any moment. Luckily, the mansion wasn't in a bad shape like that. He said that if we needed a movie, that's what he called it, we could come visit his place anytime, on just one condition. He wanted to be in the video. So here's the story. We started out afraid of ghosts.